Hey there, welcome to Consult the Blind Guy. My name is Andrew, and in today's episode, we're going to cover cane tips for mobility and accessibility use with your white cane. If you're new here, thanks for watching. If you're a member of the consulting crew, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get to it. As I said, welcome to the show. My name is Andrew, and today we're covering mobility, specifically on using a white cane. And I've got a treat for you. I'm going to show a few of the different tips that you can use for your white cane when it comes to mobility. These all are going to be the hook style tips, and I've got a few of them on hand that I ordered specifically from MaxiAids.com, and they're all Ambutech products. Unfortunately, there were a couple that were back ordered, and then there was a couple that I didn't order. One, because they're expensive, and two, I just don't like the looks of them, and I really don't understand why they're there, other than those that are in a wheelchair, because their little description that they provide for them, I understand the wheelchair aspect, but the other aspect that they mention, I just really don't get it. So, without further ado, let's get into looking at some of these cane tips. Number one that I'm going to show you today is the Marshmallow Roller. This is a hook style tip, and it twists at the very top at the hook part that goes into your cane. The marshmallow tip is called marshmallow because it looks the shape of a marshmallow, and it has a nice little built-in roller, and it's made out of molded nylon. Now, this is a good tip. This is the one that I've preferred to use, or the type I've preferred to use over the last 20 years, and it has done amazingly. This provides for a constant contact. It provides a ability to feel everything in the ground as you're walking, as well as an audible cue as well, depending on the type of surface, whether it's pavement, gravel, store floors, vinyl, tile, whatever. These I like the most. I will also go over the description from MaxiAids as well as their prices at the end of this video. The pencil tip. This is not a rotating tip. This is strictly a solid piece that is also a hook style. This is good for doing the two tap method. You can also use it in the constant contact method, but I've noticed more people use this in the tapping than I have with the constant contact because of the wear that you will actually make using this kind of tip. And the reason I say this is because with a roller tip, it as you move your cane, it rolls in that direction and back and back and back and forth. When you have something that is stationary like this, if you use your tip on that one consistent angle all the time without rotating your cane in your hand at all, it will create damage on that one side that gets used the most, which means you'll have to replace your cane tip sooner than you will later. The ceramic tip. The ceramic tip, again, is another stationary tip. This one is a multicolor. It has a black ring at the top portion of the cone type ball end. It is only a half circle compared to being a full circle, And this one is good for a constant contact. You can also use it in the double tap system, but I really don't recommend that because of it being ceramic. There is a possibility that you could crack it depending on the surface that you're on and the amount of force you use. These are usually pretty durable, but I have heard of some others within the community who have used them and broken them and had to replace them sooner than using one of the other style tips that is either stationary or able to rotate with the roller. This provides a very good audio feedback for surfaces that are hard. You're not going to get an audible feedback when it comes to grass and dirt and things like that, but it is an awesome cane tip. The Jumbo Roller. Now, this one is pretty much like the marshmallow, but instead of it being a small marshmallow style tip, this one is a very, very large disc wheel that does rotate. And this is perfect for the constant contact method of sweeping back and forth as you walk. The reason that this is a good one is because this is so much taller compared to the marshmallow one. This is capable of lasting fairly longer compared to the marshmallow because it has that much more material that it can wear off over the years. And it is also great for the ability to have your cane stand straight up on its own with very little assistance compared to the rest of the cane tips. If you wanted it to sit flat on a surface, it's really not going to do that. This here with the Jumbo Roller will actually stay fairly well standing straight up, and that way you can also use it for measuring distance in like a drop off point for a curb or things of that nature, which I will also be demonstrating later on in a different video on how you can actually use a couple of these different tip styles to measure the distance of a drop off point of a curb, a step, or something else that you might end up walking into and you want to ensure you're not going to fall flat on your face. Which brings us to the next tip in this series, and that, my friends, is the Jumbo Ball Roller. This is approximately a 2-inch ball that does spin just like the marshmallow and the Jumbo Roller. This one is very good for a constant contact. It helps you notice more of the divots and bumps that are along your pathway, as well as giving an audible cue. All of these tips that I am showing are white cane hook style Ambutech tips. There are other types of tips out there that can be screwed in, and there are other ones that have different brackets that actually screw onto the outside to hold these into place. But I use a hook style cane, so I need the hook style adapters. And those are all the cane tips that I've purchased this past week to be able to cover here in today's video. There are a couple that were back ordered, unfortunately, so I was not able to get them on hand to be able to show them and give a little bit of a description on what they are and what they're good for. However, you can see here that the high mileage tip is very similar to the marshmallow. There is very minor differences in this tip compared to the marshmallow, other than the fact that it is slightly a little bit more rounded, and it, like the rest of them, is made out of molded nylon and has an ability to last for years. And again, it is not a roller. Therefore, if you use the constant contact method and you do not rotate your cane in your hand at all while you're using it, you're going to put wear on that tip, which means that it's going to be worn on one side more than the rest, and then you're going to end up having to replace that tip sooner than later, like you would with one that has a roller. Now, that is just my personal opinion and my personal research with talking to other community members who use a variety of these different Ambutech cane tips. And I will be getting more in the future to be able to show some of the different brands that are out there, as well as some of the different styles that are available from the different manufacturers other than Ambutech. And then, of course, I do not have a brand new one to show you, but the Marshmallow non-roller. It's the same thing as the roller tip, with the exception of it does not rotate as you use it like the others. They are strictly hook style stationary, and they do the same as the others. They provide a constant contact and audible feedback, with the exception that if you do not rotate your hand or your cane at all while you're walking, you're going to put wear on that one particular side, which means over time you are going to have to replace it much sooner than you would with one that has the roller capability to it, unless you want to constantly rotate your cane in order to get that even wear across the cane tips. And then the two that I do not plan on purchasing are the Rover Freewheeler and the dual push broom tip. These are a little bit more expensive than all the tips that I've shown before, and the Rover Freewheel is a single wheel, as you can see here, and it has a hook style attachment just like the rest. Same with the push broom style, which has two wheels, and I can see these being used by the multi-disabled, for those who are visually impaired and the physically disabled, like somebody who has a very hard time with rotating a wrist and things like that. However, in my opinion, these are perfect for those that are in wheelchairs, because they do not have the same capabilities as the normal tips that I've just previously shown. Now, I am going to go through here briefly, and I am going to read off the exact description from MaxiAids themselves, so you have a little bit more of an understanding of how they describe them, what their uses are in their opinion, and the cost of each of these tips. First up is the ceramic tip. Ambutech ceramic hook style tips are long-lasting ceramic tips designed to provide excellent audio feedback. Hook style tip attaches to elastic cord and mobility canes, and this tip is $15.90 USD. Next is the Jumbo Roller, which is $11.90 USD. Ambutech Jumbo Roller tips have an oversized 2.5-inch solid disc that offers greater tactile sensitivity and visibility with longer life, easily handles pavement, cracks, cobblestones, and many pedestrian obstacles. Made of heavy-duty molded nylon, hook-style tip attaches to elastic cord and mobility canes. Then next is the Marshmallow Roller, which is $9.65 USD. Ambutech Marshmallow Roller tip consists of a unique marshmallow style tip with encased roller bearing that allows the tip to rotate in the same axis as the shaft of the cane. Users like it because of the enhanced tactile transmission and the reduction in the audible tap. Made of heavy-duty molded nylon, hook-style tip attaches to the elastic cord and mobility canes. Next is the pencil tip, which is $2.40 USD. Ambutech pencil tip hook style for canes are molded from long-wearing nylon. These low-vision aids can be used as a base for Ambutech's range of interchangeable slip-on tips. The low-vision cane tip offers a hook-style tip that attaches to the elastic cord in the mobility canes. And you notice in that one it did not mention anything about the usage style. That's why I mentioned it in the beginning of this video. And that brings us to the next one, which is the rolling ball, which is $8.45 USD. This is the ideal cane for the blind or those with severe vision impairments. With a large 2-inch diameter nylon sphere with encased stainless steel roller bearing, the cane for the blind features greater sensitivity and visibility, ideal for constant contact techniques, lightweight and easy to maneuver. This visual impairment cane will help guide you to the matter where the road obstacles and pavement cracks. Hook style tip attaches to elastic cord and mobility canes. This one is white, but it is also available in red. And then, not specifically on hand, is the high mileage, which is still sort of a marshmallow style. The description says popular Ambutech high mileage cane tip is a marshmallow style cane tip molded from a high abrasion resistant engineered polymer that lasts 2 to 3 times longer than the nylon hook style cane tip, attaches to the elastic cord and mobility canes, and is $2.40 USD. And then you have the standard marshmallow tip, which is also $2.40. It is a hook style tip, attaches to the elastic cord and mobility canes. And then a good example, just to show you briefly real quick. This is my no jab cane here. And the no jab cane comes with a marshmallow tip, non-rolling. And I've only had this cane for a matter of about 8 months, roughly. And this one is already starting to wear on the very edge, as well as a little bit further down on the side from the way that I swing my cane. It works, but I still prefer the roller tip. And the reason being is this right here. This cane is my standard cane that I received at the age of 16, and I will be 36 in a matter of 6 months. And this cane is still in perfect working condition with the original marshmallow roller tip that I received as a teenager. And as you can see, it's got a slight little bit of a conical appearance to the end now, to where it looks more like a pointed tip rather than the perfect marshmallow tip, because it has been used a lot over the last 20 years. And this to me is much better than having something that is stationary and does not rotate, for the simple fact of when it starts to wear down and creates that little cone type edge, it gives you more direct contact to the ground that you're walking on. It still rotates just fine across the axis as you sweep back and forth, and it still gives you that audible feedback, which is perfect. That's why I myself prefer using the Marshmallow Tip that rotates rather than one that is stationary. I really never liked the two-tap method, though I am capable of using echolocation. I still would prefer the constant contact and audible feedback over just the audible feedback and the possibility of missing any objects that might be in between each of those taps. So here's an image of the Rover freewheeling, and it is $12.15 USD. Ambutech Rover freewheeling tips incorporate a large 3-inch foam wheel, durable, lightweight, and long lasting. They are ideal for highly mobile, partially sighted individuals who only require the ability to detect smaller objects on trails, fields, or rural roads. The Rover tip is often used as the tip of last resort for multi-handicapped and hard-to-teach individuals, since it is designed to rotate in the forward direction only. Functions well as a guide for visually impaired people in wheelchair. Now, I hope you noticed what I was referring to before and what I said. In my opinion, this is perfect for those who are physically disabled besides visually disabled in a wheelchair, because it only goes straight. It does not rotate on any axis, which means you're going to have to be able to pick it up and push it in each individual direction you may want it to go. It does not rotate other than going forward. And then it says that it is for those that are hard to be taught how to use a cane. And in my opinion, it's not that hard to learn how to use a cane. It just takes a little bit of practice and instruction in managing to stay in step with your sweeping method with your stride. Other than that, learning how to use a white cane isn't too difficult unless you have a physical disability to coincide with your vision impairment, which makes it harder for you to be able to do the sweeping or tapping methods. And then next is the push broom tip, which is also a hook style, which is $34.95 USD. The hook style cane was designed for people who have difficulty learning techniques to use canes. For the blind and mobility cane, the attachment to the bottom of a cane not included is pushed along the floor in front of you in the similar motion as a pushing a broom on the floor. Measures 18 inches wide with dual 3-inch diameter Rover wheels for use on rural or rougher urban surfaces. Again, in my opinion, this is for those that are more likely to be physically disabled and wanting to walk a straight line, or those that are in a wheelchair to be able to verify where they're going in front of them or behind them, because it does not rotate. You might be able to try and rotate it, but it's not going to be as easy as one would like it to be, is if you were using a roller tip and sweeping back and forth, because this is only going to rotate forward or backward as you push it like a broom, and that is it. In my opinion, it's more for those who are in a wheelchair or have difficulty with mobility more than they do with a vision impairment. In that sense, it would be a good cane tip to use. But that is just my personal observation. I highly recommend that you speak with your local orientation and a mobility specialist and try out each of the different cane tip types to see which one you prefer and go from there on which one you would prefer to use. I cannot tell you to pick any specific one. I can only give you my personal opinion on these different tip uses and my opinion of the best one to use in my particular situation. And then a bonus item that I highly recommend for those who are visually impaired or physically disabled as well. And that, my friends, is the stamper. This stamper here is for your mail. This states free, matter of the blind or physically handicapped. This is an alternative to going out and buying postage stamps. And you're probably asking, well, what is the benefit of having something like that? And this is $14.95. And it's something that is very useful for us in the physically disabled and visually impaired community to be able to not have to deal with going to the post office and getting stamps for our mail. Whether you're sending out a check in the mail for your bills, sending a letter to a loved one, sending out a memory stick, a CD, or a cassette in order to communicate with one of your friends or family, pen pal, doctor's offices, whatever the situation may be, you can use one of these stamps here on your mail in place of the standard postage, and it will still be mailed for you. I have waited and waited and waited for the longest time to get one of those, even though I've been qualified to have one for years. I'd never been able to find one readily accessible, and finally found one on MaxiAids for just under $15. And they have two different styles. This one here, which is the self-inked cartridge, where all you have to do is push it on to the envelope straight down until it connects, leaves its mark, and you're good to go. Set it off to the side. The other one is a rubber stamp, which will require you to have an ink pad that you physically push the stamper onto first, then onto your item that you're going to mail. And I should also stress that this is specifically for standard mail. This is not for large packages. As I said, mailing out letters, mailing out bills, mailing a cassette, memory stick, or CD to somebody that you are talking back and forth to using a recorded message, something to that effect. That is what it covers. This does not allow you to send out a large package that is in one of the if it fits, it ships boxes, or a large manila envelope, or anything to that effect. I highly recommend that if you are going to use one of those, that you check with your local regulations in your city or state about what size packages are covered underneath that use of stampage. So I hope that you found today's episode helpful and informative. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can stay updated on the latest videos, live streams, and more. And please feel free to comment below. Let me know your thoughts on any of these cane tips. Do you have one of these cane tips? The pencil, the marshmallow, jumbo roller, high mileage, ceramic. Let me know what you think of your experience with one of those cane tips, and maybe have you ever used one of these mail stampers as well? I'd love to hear your thoughts on these items. I look forward to hearing any questions you might have. Until the next time, I hope you have a good day or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and we'll see you in the next episode.